As well as playing a wacky version of himself in Being John Malkovich, today's guest is best known for his roles in Stephen Frears' Dangerous Liaisons and Clint Eastwood's In the Line of Fire. He's acted in around 100 films. Today, he's the president of the jury at the French Language Film Festival here in Angoulême in central France. Let's go meet John Malkovich.
Hi, I'm John Malkovich and you're watching France 24.
John Malkovich, bonjour.
Bonjour.
Nous sommes au Festival du film francophone d'Angoulême, alors on va commencer l'interview en français.
Oui.
Vous présidez le jury du festival. Racontez-nous un peu votre histoire avec la France et le cinéma français.
Depuis le début de mon carrière dans le cinéma, tout ça, j'avais pas mal travaillé ici en France, inclusif d'avoir fait plusieurs films en français. J'ai pas mal de respect pour le cinéma français.
Mais vous dites, j'adore la France, mais il y a trop d'impôts et trop de pessimisme. Comment expliquez-vous cela?
Ça, c'est un point de vue, non? C'est un point de vue politique. Le pessimisme, c'est peut-être c'est plus difficile à définir, peut-être. Je peux dire seulement que très souvent, depuis plus que 30 ans, j'avais passé pas mal de temps en France. Des années, ça veut dire même avant, on a acheté une maison en France et tout ça. J'ai entendu la phrase « la crise » depuis le début. Et ça fait
longtemps.
Très longtemps pour une crise. Ça veut dire c'est devenir une maladie quelque part, n'est-ce pas?
Well, John Malkovich, we both speak French, but let's switch now to our mother tongue, to English, and talk about your career. Your best-known performances are for things like the assassin in Clint Eastwood's In the Line of Fire, Valmont in Stephen Frears' Dangerous Liaisons, and for playing a version of yourself in Being John Malkovich. But you've made something like 100 films. How much do you look back?
Really never. I mean, I have quite a good memory and I can remember certain moments of filming, and I made several films with Gérard Depardieu, and that's always an experience, let's say. Super hilarious. The first 2 or 3 films I made with him, when I would get back to wherever I was living that night, I just felt like somebody had just crushed my rib cage because I just laughed all day long because he's such a chaos creator and you know, he's a kind of originator of chaos in the universe.
I trained these men. They will fight to the death. But if we must die, let it be like this.
One for all for one.
Shoot. Shoot them.
So I've gotten to work with such great people and I've really enjoyed it, but I don't really think back on quote, kind of my work, whatever that is, or my career.
Well, if I can ask you to just for a moment, your characters often tend to be dark, cold people. Is there a character that you most identify with?
It depends on what one means, I suppose, by identify with. Is there someone I identify with because I think I'm like them, or that they share a worldview with me, even though they're imaginary, or I share a worldview with them? No. Are there characters I enjoyed playing more than others? Yeah, sure.
Like?
One of my favorites was an English film I was in about, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago or so, called Color Me Kubrick, it was about this English guy, Alan Conway, who went around pretending he was Stanley Kubrick, and
a true story.
I don't say it's a great film, but it was quite entertaining to do and to play. I'm Stanley Kubrick, the film director.
Stanley Kubrick.
The film director.
Yes, unless there's another one.
It's just staggering.
Over the moon I am.
Very pleased to meet you, Mr. Kubrick. Stanley, please.
A film like Being John Malkovich is mostly interesting because it was the sort of introduction to two really great, I think, cinema talents, Spike Jonze and Charlie Kaufman. That's what I find most interesting about it. My part or me, I don't know, it's okay.
Malkovich. Malkovich, Malkovich. Malkovich, Malkovich. Malkovich, Malkovich, Malkovich. Malkovich, Malkovich. Malkovich.
You seem to be crazy busy. You've got loads of new films coming out, like Unlocked, which is a spy thriller where you play a CIA chief, and Wild Wedding, which is a rom-com.
Mm-hmm.
Is one genre more difficult than another?
Not really. I think what's difficult is just, I think it's really difficult to do something good. That is to say, that hits its space in time, that has the right spot in time, the right notion at the right moment.
Talking about time, another recent film you've done is called 100 Years. It's from the Dusk Till Dawn director Robert Rodriguez. It's been locked away and won't be seen till 2115. What do you think the world will be like in 100 years?
Well, that's kind of what the film is about. And there's a huge amount of discrepancy in various viewpoints about what the world will be like then. I have no idea. I mean, I won't be around to see it, certainly, neither will my children. Who knows, really? And that's kind of what the film's about.
You seem to really love physically transforming yourself.
Dive within. My love has something to tell you.
She's lying.
Recently, you reenacted scenes from David Lynch's body of work, including Agent Dale Cooper and Log Lady of Twin Peaks and David Lynch himself. And in a project with the photographer Sandro Miller, you posed as various famous figures like Marilyn Monroe and Che Guevara. Who did you most enjoy reenacting?
You know, it's funny. I liked a lot both the well, actually, all the Diane Arbus photos, maybe. I played the two twin girls. They were kind of 5 or 6 years old. That was very entertaining. There's another little boy she took a photo of, sort of little tiny skinny boy who, I think it was the year his parents had been divorced and he had had to wait in the park a long time for the photo, and he was a little bit ADD anyway, and he's holding a hand grenade and kind of, you know, having a kind of negative power surge. Those were fun. And then some are really easy, like Warhol took about 30 seconds, and then others take a long time and are not so easy.
You recently played a fictional despot in the music theatre piece Just Call Me God. The dictator expresses a vision of the future in which the super wealthy are surrounded by borders, fences and walls.
I am the absolute sovereign. I am not standing on the shoulders of giants.
But in the past you described yourself as a non-ideological person, and you haven't voted in any election for more than 40 years. How are you feeling about politics now in the Trump era?
A lot of blah, blah, blah. So far I'd say it hasn't gone swimmingly, but it often doesn't. I think the problem with politics, media, and people's consumption of either is what Chou En-lai answered when he was asked about what he thought about the French Revolution. This was kind of a couple hundred years after it happened, and he said it's too early to tell. And I think there's a lot of truth in that.
You seem to be busier than ever, not just as an actor, but you seem to have many other activities like flower arranging, cooking, winemaking, and you've got your own fashion label. Tell us about your line and how on earth you have time to design clothes.
Well, it isn't really designing clothes that's the problem. Designing, I like to draw. I can do it anywhere. It doesn't take long to design a shirt or a suit or etc. You know what? I mean, I'm a pretty slow drawer, so a couple hours or something, but even less maybe if I'm lucky. The designing is not really the time-consuming part, it's all the rest.
So Angoulême, after that, what's next for John Malkovich?
I will be the president of the jury of the fabric fair outside of Paris. The world's kind of big fabric fair is a thing called Première Vision. Then I go immediately to Spain, and I'm the president of the jury at San Sebastian at the film festival. And then the day that finishes, I'll go to Vienna to start rehearsals on a music piece. It's called The Music Critic, which is all the worst reviews of Beethoven, Brahms, Debussy, Ravel, Schumann, everybody. And then the musicians play the piece, you know.
Lots of things to look forward to, John Malkovich. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Malkovich! Malkovich.
Malkovich, Malkovich, Malkovich.
Malkovich. Malkovich.
You Are Here, your programme spotlighting French heritage.
Versailles, the Louvre, and the Mont Saint-Michel are all well-known stars of French heritage. But French genius and France harbors many other hidden treasures. The arts, gastronomy, architecture, as well as nature's wonders. Come along with France 24 and discover France's living heritage. From young apprentices to accomplished craftsmen, farmers to Michelin star sporting chefs, meet these people whose passion for their professions preserve and drive French heritage.
You Are Here on France 24 and France24.com.